Very good. I'm sorry I'm late.
There we go. Okay, good.
Okay, we're going to try to move this along because we have a hard stop at 8 because of the workbench. Chuck, have you already started on your item 1?
No. Luke had asked if Bob was going to bring the mast van.
Okay.
So I was explaining that.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm getting all these pop-ups and everything. Anyway, geez, people keep calling me on the phone. Stand by. I'm going to mute the audio for a minute. Okay, Mr. Mike, W1RC, has been trying to get a hold of me. Okay, we have an agenda for tonight's meeting. We're going to try to move it along because, as I said, we have a hard stop at 8 o'clock. Chuck's done a lot of work on the distribution. I think he has the AC distribution pretty much at hand. So you can talk to that, Chuck. I have the first thing on, and feel free to add any additional items that I may have missed here. The only item that pertains to me on the AC distribution is heaters, and I found 3 1,500-watt heaters, which I have here. So we'll have to see where they're allocated and who has additional 1,500-watt heaters. Chuck, I'm sure we'll want to talk about the power cords and the loading and the generator locations and all that kind of stuff. So it's over to you.
Okay. Talk about things that I missed. One of the things that I missed was calculating currents. Unless somebody has, well, a multiplicity of 12 gauge cords, 3,000 watts is 25 amps, which is pretty pushy on 12 gauge cords. So if we go to single heaters at each of the location that gets an electric heater, we have enough heaters because, Joe, you have 3 and I have 1. So if hospitality and LVR trailer have 1, Tom and Greg each have 1, that's all the electric heaters we need.
Okay, hospitality is 1. George's trailer, George says, is George on?
Nope.
No, not yet.
Okay, that looks good, Jim.
It is.
Is it chicken?
No, it's an apple.
It's an apple.
Going down to the end of the cord.
Looks like you're chewing on a bone. George said his trailer, because of lack of insulation, needs 2 heaters. Chuck, did you say 1 or 2 for that?
Well, electrically, unless somebody comes up, unless we have a more cords, more
Okay.
12 gauge cords. One 12 gauge cord is not going to take 2 heaters.
No, you're absolutely right. So let's keep going and define the need. So we have hospitality 1. We have George that requires 2. And Greg's trailer, is Greg on?
Nope.
Nope.
No. Okay, Greg's trailer is small. It's a CW trailer for Jim. So
People could use that too.
that's 1 heater right there. And then Tom, what does he have as far as heat?
Propane.
Hi, Tom. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
So you need no electric heaters. You're self-contained with propane, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I have, Joe.
Yes.
I have a small propane heater that would probably do Greg's trailer.
Okay. Greg's trailer is pretty tight. I'm not sure how you're going to ventilate it.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I'd hate to see that because it's tighter than a Banshee.
There's that breathing stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to. I would feel
No.
really tough with that. So let's do that. So Chuck raised a great point.
And the other thing to remember is it's not supposed to be all that cold.
Right.
Much
Yeah,
to Joe's disappointment.
I think
Yeah.
it was like 40 degrees, I think. It was supposed to get up to 50 though on Thursday, I think.
It is entirely possible we may hit on the edge of 60 by the time we get there. It's going to be be rainy, but it's going to be very warm, so that the heaters don't have to work real hard.
Yeah, and I think we only need the heater pretty much at night, probably, because I think that night. What did you say, Luke? It's going to get down to 41 or 42, something like that.
I didn't check, but
Okay.
I think that's what it was supposed to.
AccuWeather is saying 50 degrees on Saturday. And
That's a high.
For the high, yes.
What's the
So-
lows?
Um, for Saturday night, 37.
You need a heater.
Yeah, it needs a heater.
Yeah.
The question is how many heaters?
Okay. Let's go back here.
Now,
with the-
Sunday's going to be cooler. Sunday, they're saying 42.
right.
Oh,
So with the hospitality, okay, that's 1 15-amp feed for the heater, right?
Yes.
So that would be 14 gauge for 15 amps. We're
Well,
gonna
we
have,
also have
we'll have
the
rigs and stuff.
we also have the food serving appliances.
Okay. So when you tallied up Mike's demand, is Mike here?
Nope.
Wow.
let me-
Okay.
Let me text him.
The
The thing we can
with
do,
the hospitality is
hospitality needs to be 12 gauge.
right, and
And-
12 should with a 12 that's 20 amps. Will that handle the 1500-watt heater and Mike's total load, Chuck?
No, but if you turn off the heater while you got the other heating
Yeah.
equipment in there,
See, I don't want to do that. I don't want
Well-
to have to turn this off and that off. Let's go with extra cords. I have a whole bunch of cords, a
12
cable.
gauge.
Yeah, I have 12 gauge.
How
If
many?
I don't, I'll buy it. I'm not going to buy 12 gauge extension cords. I'm going to get 12 gauge Romex.
Okay.
So for the hospitality, how about if we do one 12 gauge, okay, for the heater. Okay. And then what we'll do, let me see, let me write this down here, 12. And then we can do one 14 gauge for the warming trays and all that stuff. Or if you don't think it requires a 14 gauge, we can use an extension cord of that. Let's split the heater load from the
The hospitality, if he has all of his appliances turned on, is 3,000 watts, just for the food stuff.
okay. So 3,000 watts. So we're over 20 amps for that. So 3,000 watts is not going to be handled with a 20 gauge.
No,
So we're talking about. So I don't think we want to really go above 12. So help me through this now. I'm trying to think of it. So if we use two 14 gauge feeds for Mike's 3,000 watts of load, that would handle that. And then in addition to that, we have a heater. And let's just say one heater and one 14 gauge would handle the 15 amps required for the heater. Is that a reasonable if we have
3,000 watts divided by 120 volts is 25 amps.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why I said two separate feeds for that. You have two 14 gauge feeds. Each feed is 15 amps. So that's 30 amps total with the two 14 gauge feeds. So that would handle the two heaters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, so we have
Well, you're
that's
talking
fine.
about two heaters plus 3,000 watts
No.
of food service.
right. I'm seeing
So
three.
you're talking
feeds.
about 6 kW.
Right. And I'm seeing three feeds into the hospitality suite to make it a reasonable wire gauge. Two 14 amp or 14 gauge feeds for the 3,000 watts for the heaters. Or I'm sorry, for the Mike's serving trays and all that kind of stuff. So that's two 14 gauge feeds, and that's satisfied. And then the one heater, we could have, since we only need one heater, we could have a third 14 gauge feeding that heater.
Yeah.
So 3 pieces of 14 gauge Romex should satisfy the load requirements on that hospitality trailer. Because a 20 won't do it. You know, you have to have two 14s to get you there, right? So
Yep.
there's no advantage really the way the distribution works out here to use a 20. So we'll do 3 14 gauge Romex feeds. I have a 250-foot spool of 14 gauge Romex.
Good.
Is that let's talk about it. Is that a reasonable solution?
Talk about the antennas for a while. I'm going to go look at that generator and make sure I got the outlets to handle that.
Okay. Okay,
I'll-
314 gauge feeds.
I'll be back.
Okay, thank you, Chuck.
Yeah.
Hospitality suite. Okay. Yeah, I just don't. I like to plan for worst case, and I don't want to. I don't want to have turn certain things off while other things are on. I mean, we're going to do this in a reasonable amount of decadence. Okay. Let's see here. So while Chuck's looking into that, let's jump over here. Antennas. That was the second item on the agenda. So we have an 80-meter site antenna. We have a 40-meter site antenna. We have a 40-meter end fed that Travis is bringing in 3ILS. Are you here, Travis?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The random wire antenna, W3MFB, Thorndale Mike. End fed half wave, W3QP. Are you here? Tim, yes, you are.
Yep.
So that's still a plan of record, right? End fed half wave?
Yeah, I might swap it out for a random wire, but yeah,
Okay.
I'll be settled on my side. I'll have an antenna.
Okay. And Ron is providing a fan dipole.
Yep.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, but I think it's for 40, 20, 15, and 10, correct?
40, yes, that is
Okay.
correct. So now
So,
it's Delta.
in some cases, we want to share antennas. So if you're on the 40-meter site antenna, don't assume that you can have it for the whole duration. If you're on the 80-meter site antenna, don't assume you can have it for the full duration. So we'll have to work up some kind of schedule. Now, I see the end-fed antenna or whatever Tim brings. I see that as a dedicated antenna for his station. Is that a fair assessment, Tim?
I think that would be the easiest approach. Yeah.
And you don't, as long as you don't have a problem with it. If you have any issues, I want to, I want to hear the pros and cons.
No, I think it should be good.
Okay. The fan dipole that Ron's providing, I see that as a rotating antenna, not physically.
Could be.
unless we want to have Luke. Luke, are you still here?
Yeah.
Maybe you can get under the 40-meter fan dipole and you can run around and we can change the directivity of it. But when I say a shared antenna or rotating, I mean that goes into the pool of antennas.
Yes.
So, okay, so that's that. I want to establish the assumptions first. The random wire antenna, I think that was, is Thorndale Mike on yet?
He's
No,
logging on right now.
Yeah, he's logging on.
Okay. We'll talk about that. But right now, his random wire, he may want to dedicate to his station. The 40-meter end fed. Travis, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's best dedicated to your station?
I have no problem sharing it if, because I'm for sure I'm not going to be operating overnight.
Okay.
So, I don't
Okay.
have a problem leaving it set up and stuff.
Okay. So that's share. Okay. And that's share. Okay. And here's a scheme that I have for the shares. So we've established that now. We know which ones are going to be shared, and we know which ones are likely going to be dedicated to a given station. So what my plan is when the coax comes off of a shared antenna, it'll be a common going to a coaxial switch, and we'll have 5 ports on that coaxial switch. And I'm going to have these in a Rubbermaid bin with holes in the side. So we'll be able to take any antenna of the shared that's defined as being a shared antenna and simply turn these are Bird really nice coaxial switches and turn them to any station. So that's the way we can kind of mix and match and do what we need to do. With the end goal is everybody should have an antenna to use. They want to get on the air and use it. Now that presents another interdependency, and that interdependency is such that we're going to have coax going from the single pole 5 5-position switch to the stations that want to borrow those said antennas. So we really need coax.
Great.
And I think Bob, I heard from Bob N2HM, and he's checking in, but he's going to be a little bit late. Bob has buckets of coax, but I don't know whether they're long or short. So we need to think about where the stations are and locate the switch selector to select into the different stations. So logistically, it works out that we have enough cable length to reach the various stations. This only pertains to the stations which I call shared antenna stations.
Mhm.
This does not pertain to the folks that have dedicated antennas. Any questions, thoughts, comments, or about all that stuff?
I have a length of RG8 that I've lent it to Field Day a couple of times. I want to say it's in the 70 to 80 foot range. I have to go look at the sticker on it, but happy to bring that along. I don't know that I'll be able to stop by Friday, but I'll definitely have that for you guys on Saturday.
Okay. Thank you very much, Timmy. I'll definitely need it. And Saturday is plenty soon enough.
Oh,
Is-
yes.
Go ahead, Luke. I'm sorry.
So about Friday, what time are we going to be meeting there?
Well, we're officially allowed to set up the equipment at 2 p.m. Okay, 24 hours prior to the happening. And Travis and Jim, if I'm wrong on that, you can square me away. But I think that's it. However, we do feel, since there's other structures up there, based on the weather, we can set up the tents earlier if need be. So to zero in on your answer better, Luke, I would say a lot of it will be weather dependent. We want to pick a time that looks like it's going to be the best to set up the stuff so we don't have too much inclement weather to do it. So we'll have a segment of Friday and we'll have a segment of Saturday. Remember, it doesn't start till 2:00 on Saturday. I plan to be there with Bill, KC3OOK, at 9:00 on Saturday morning at the site. Okay.
All right. That works.
Yeah. So I plan to be there then. The weather for Saturday, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody have seen a later forecast, appears to be about the best, one of the best days. Saturday, I think the last I saw, the percentage of rain was relatively small. So I think Saturday is going to be a good weather day. I can't speak for Sunday, but Saturday is going to be a good weather day.
Joe, could I interrupt for a second?
Absolutely.
I just got a ping from Bob. He says, been trying to join for about 7 minutes.
I don't have a waiting list or wait, so I don't know what everybody else is.
Check if he has the right link, because
Yeah.
there was a couple links that we kept clicking on it. They weren't working, but then I got this link and it worked good.
All right. I'll pass it on.
Yeah.
Can I
if
go
you
in
could-
reverse order,
Chuck,
Joe?
if-
So your statement about the weather is correct. Saturday will be the better. Sunday, it's back to heavier
Okay.
rain.
Very good,
That's
Tom.
correct.
Thank you.
And backing up to your coax comment, I have 2 runs of heavy duty coax in my trailer that's already up there, a 50 and a 100 footer. It's heavy gauge, so I'll check those when I get up there, but that's my search and rescue coax. So I've got one with a portable antenna and another one that's just free. So
Okay, great.
not connected to anything, we can use them.
What's your schedule like of when you're going to be there, Tom, for setup, or Saturday or Friday, or what? That's a good thing to.
I could be there. Well, George and I are trying to get together Wednesday morning because I'm trying to get him to move my trailer from the lower section up top,
Mm-hmm.
position it wherever you deem appropriate. So I'm going to do that Wednesday possibly, and trying to free up Friday afternoon, and I'm open all day Saturday. So I
Okay.
won't be up as early. I know we're not allowed before 2 p.m. on Saturday, but
Right. But we
yeah,
can we can put things into place and things like that. And go back and keep reading the rules, and it's interesting just to talk about that. It seems like the essence of the rules are to get you out in less than ideal conditions and put stations on the air and be able to operate.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't see any emphasis on seeing how many contacts you can make.
No, it's not. It's have fun, do some emergency communication type comms.
Right.
and have fun.
Yeah. So that's good because all this stuff we're doing, I think it's entirely different than doing it in the summertime.
Yes.
So I think when we walk away from this, when we're done, we'll say, oh, we learned a lot about, some of the obstacles and some of the things that we did well and some of the things that we maybe didn't do so well. And that'll be improvement for next year when it's supposed to be minus 20 below zero. Anyway, thank you, Tim, for your generous coax offer. The coax is one of the things that worries me the most at this point. So that will definitely help. Okay, let me see. Chuck, are you going to send Bob a current link? He may
I just did.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now let me cap this antenna situation off. Is everybody okay on the antenna stuff? And then I'm going to give it back to Chuck to talk about loading.
Just a quick question. I don't know what this trailer is, and I don't have to be the only one to use Greg's trailer, but anyway, what kind of access? You talk about how tight it is. How are you getting antenna in there? I have a small antenna, but it's more for operating portable without any kind of feed line at all.
Think Bob, he's joining.
Okay. Hi, Bob.
Greetings. Apparently the link I had was from another time or something. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, hi, everybody.
Hey, Bob, welcome.
No problem.
They send that link to certain people.
Yeah, we had
Word's out now.
It's the Zoom version of unfriending, I think.
Yeah.
We lowered our standards, Bob. Welcome.
Okay, welcome, Bob. Good to see you and hear you. Okay, let me see. I was on a thought train there. Oh,
yeah.
your question, Jim. Here's how I see it. And Greg sometimes has to work late at Longwood. I'm sure that's why he's not on. Although I should send my daughter something because she gets him on faster than anybody can get him on. So, but anyway, he uses this trailer. This is a kind of a new trailer. It's not like an old piece of junk. And he has a sideline business. He works for a guy actually doing wedding DJing work. And he's been doing this with multiple trailers for like 25 years now. And, you do one wedding, it's $1,200. It's really easy money for him. And he loves doing it. His trailer is very nice. And he uses the trailer to transport his DJ equipment around in. And the old days, it was big, heavy stuff. And now it's all these Class D audio amps that, you can pick up in one hand. So anyway, I can't answer that, but we will definitely make sure that there's a way to get cables in and out, even if it means leaving the door cracked a little bit and put some kind of temporary foam around the perimeter of the door so you don't get a breeze. Because we would not want you to get a stiff neck or anything like that, especially if you're operating CW.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I was just curious.
Yeah, and Greg can answer it.
I can bring a drill if he doesn't have a way to get it in.
Just drill a hole in the side of it, put a PVC pipe.
Greg's pretty keen on ham radio. So 5 years ago, he tried to say, no way. He said, sure, if it's for radio, do it. So we'll get that. And I'm going to mark that down as an action item for me. And I'll get back to you very soon on that, Jim. Just so
you don't need to. I'm sure we'll work it out on Saturday or Friday.
Okay. Or whatever. Well, I want to know when he's going to be there too. I don't have that information. Okay. Any more questions that pertain to the antennas?
Hey Joe, this is Keith. Sorry I'm late. I just spent an hour helping the Amazon guy not take out my mailbox and my light post because it slipped off the driveway. Ended up pulling them out with my truck, and it turns out he had to get pulled out. We tried everything. We shoveled. We put blankets down. Nothing worked fine. Hooked up the truck and pulled him out. Turns out he got stuck last night. Someone else had to get pulled out there too. So it must be a hell of a driver.
Thank you. He has my package.
Yeah. It was junk for my wife. Wasn't even worth the delivery. So,
and you had to pay for it.
He came within 6 inches of taking out the mailbox and light post. So I saw him sitting down with the headlights on. Like, why is he still sitting there? And boy, he's awfully close to the mailbox. Ran down there. The truck didn't know what to do. So we got him pulled out.
Good. Good deed. So I'm sure he appreciates it.
Hey,
I never-
Phil.
What?
Phil joined us.
Hi,
CIB.
Bill.
Hey, Phil.
You're a little blurry.
Good to see you. I saw you, but you went away. I guess I have to click a different view here.
No, he's there.
Gallery view.
Gallery view. There's everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to keep moving because we have a hard stop at 8 because of the
an
workbench.
hour.
So I think we, if anybody has any other ideas for the antennas other than what I just outlined, I'm not going to go back and repeat it all.
I don't need to bring anything for antennas as far as the antennas themselves.
No, I don't think so. But we need
All right.
your coax.
Yeah. Okay.
We need coax. And what gauge extension cords do you have, Bob?
Well, I've got your standard 12 and 14s, but I've also got like a 250 foot of SJ cable like to get from the site. What do you need?
Okay.
What
For low-
gauge?
Oh, that's probably at least 12.
See, this is good because we're going to need some heavy distribution feeds, and Chuck's going to talk about that in a minute.
All right, I'll get it down the site.
Okay, so any heavy gauge extension cords would be really appreciated, and the coax. Go ahead, Chuck.
Okay, Travis. You said you have some big honking transformer. How honking is it?
Transformer?
Yeah, 240 to 120 transformer.
I don't have one.
I think
Greg has the transformer.
Greg has that, Chuck.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Travis. Oh,
I
No.
probably
No.
have 5 kilowatt out in the shed, but I haven't even tried it for years.
Yeah.
that's not big enough to do what we need to do. Here's the deal with this generator. I have the schematic. It's got two 30 amp, think in terms of a breaker panel. It's got two 30 amp mains. And so all other outlets derive from those 30 amp mains. Now we could use, for instance, we could use the 240 outlet because we have to make some semblance of balancing the load. So we could bring out, so that would give you a 30 amp feed possibility per leg. Okay. Now there's 120 volt outlets downstream, but those are limited to 20 amps apiece.
So you're going to split the 220 into two 110s?
Well, it's got the current capability. Now Joe is talking about going to a multiplicity of 14 gauge, but if you're interested in conductor safety, you can't do that because I got a 30 amp line. So if you broke it out to a sub panel of 15 amp breakers, then you could do that. But you're not protecting the conductors if you got a 30 amp feed on a 15 amp line.
I have an Energen box that's normally designed for generator distribution that I got back from my brother. It's got 12 or 8 or 12 circuits. I guess I could bring that. We could modify it.
Okay. Let's. I'm trying not to get something esoteric here. What's the simplest solution we can do, Chuck?
A pair of 10 gauges.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen unless Bob has 10 gauge wire.
I'll check with the gauges tomorrow, but the one I've got is like 250 feet long.
Because
we're going to need about 20 feet long.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I have regular generator cable, the twist locks. I've got several of them that are 25 or 50 feet long, but they're the twist lock connectors.
Well, I've got twist lock on this generator.
Don't forget, there's also whatever George has up at the trailer. There was twist lock that we used for the summer.
Yeah.
That was going twist lock off that generator out to a breakout box.
Yeah. It didn't have any protection on it though. It was just
Correct.
Just the quad boxes.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you go back and take a look at this, Chuck? Another thing that you can amortize in, if it would make it easier, I can bring my 6,500 watt generator, and if we could split it up, if you have a heavy load, rather than trying to balance loads, we could just simply put another generator then and run a couple generators if need be.
It seems to be a lot of trouble to avoid turning something off.
I don't follow that comment.
If we've got all the serving stuff in there, that's a 3
Right.
kW load.
Right.
That's, a 3 kW heater. Why do we need the other heater at the same time?
I don't know, because I don't know. The heaters I have, they have a fan in them. They blow air out. They they distribute it. A warming tray, I don't think has any heaters in it. Or any fans in it.
No.
I'm not sure how well the air would be distributed or the heat would be distributed. I just don't know the answer to that.
A small fan could take care of that part.
Yeah. I don't know. If it gets too complicated, maybe it's just better to pay the money and buy propane, because it does have a propane heater in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to have to take this. We're going to have to talk. You're going to have to think about it a little bit more because of our time frame tonight. I think this has morphed into something larger than we thought based on the requirements.
I can bring 3 propane tanks.
Yeah, and I see. I don't even know how long a propane tank would power the trailer. I don't know, because I don't know how hungry it is. I think the normal. This is why I wish George was here. But is he still up in the northern PA?
He is. He was coming back today.
Okay.
Well, tonight, I should say.
Tonight. Well, he should talk to us from the car. We want to talk to that Jasper. We need him. But anyway, I don't know how much propane the propane heater in the 30-foot trailer consumes on the average per hour. So I have no idea. All I know is it normally uses a 40-pound propane tank. And I thought he told me you better have 2 of them, for one as a spare. And that just gets kind of ridiculous for what we're trying to do. So
plus, you're only talking about 24 hours.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, if a couple 20-pound cylinders will run it, it's no big deal.
So according to a quick Google search,
yes,
20-pound cylinder will run the burner for about 10 to 13 and a half hours.
In a trailer?
And yeah, a typical propane RV heater uses a half to a third liquid gallon of propane per hour.
Okay. How many hours again was that?
10 to 13 and a half.
Okay, so we have a 24-hour event. So worst case, we need 2 20-pound cylinders. Chuck, let's make this easy and let's use the propane in the hospitality suite.
Okay.
Then
the other thing is does it have to be at 72 degrees? I mean, everybody's going to be dressed for cold.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. So I think with 2 20-pound cylinders will be more than enough.
I think so. If you keep the temperature down a bit, like in the 50s or 60 even. Yeah. And the heat loss is proportional to the temperature difference. So
yep.
Yeah.
So who has 20-pound cylinders?
I'll check.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, Phil.
Okay. If you're using the heater in a trailer, now you had to provide the trailer with electricity.
We will have electricity for the trailer.
Okay.
It's going to have its own dedicated generator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to have lights and all that kind of stuff. It's just the distribution of handling a 1,500 watt electric heater to heat the interior, plus 3,000 watts for the warming trays and everything that Mike and Amanda have.
Or less.
Yeah. Hi.
How you doing?
Go ahead, Mike. We were looking for you.
Yeah, sorry about that. I put it in the messages there from the email. The warming plate is pretty much a coil heater that will be for soup and stew. It won't be what'd you say, 3,500 altogether all the time.
Chuck said that you had a load of 3,000 watts.
Yeah, but it's going to be intermittent. Like it won't be all the time.
But if they all hit at once, ever.
Yeah,
you have to size for if they all hit at once.
Right.
Yeah,
good call.
You may be warming while people are cold, so we have to consider the worst case thing.
No, I hear you. I was just, you got it. Yeah, you're
But
good.
it is 3 kW, right? That's what you require.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's-
okay, decision made. We're gonna use propane for the heat in the trailer. Now we just need two 20-pound cylinders.
And you got 3 people that raised their hands.
I didn't see the pictures. Who raised their hands?
HM.
HM. Who else?
Tom, he's
Tom.
got 3.
I got two. Matt has two.
Yeah.
We'll make a decision because I may wind up with a very, very full van, but whatever.
Okay, and we'll do safety here. We're safety conscious, right? You and how you drive, I would be very nervous if you had propane cylinder in your vehicle.
Well, I put them in crates. They don't roll around.
But you roll around.
Well, thank you very much. You're the one who had the what the heck the thing it was back in the 60s.
Well, now don't bring up the old stuff from the 60s.
Yeah, well, the last thing that
Be
gets
that
saved,
warm.
the last thing that gets saved on many people is their right foot. So
Okay. It looks like we're covered with propane. Not literally, but we're okay, Bob. You can leave your propane home.
let me know for sure.
Okay.
Hey, Joe, I just had something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, it's real quick. And this mainly is for Chuck and also for everybody. Question came up about how we're going to make hot water. And also, Chuck, if you could just run down the list really quickly about all the generators and who owns them. That would be good for everybody too.
I have that on the agenda.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on the agenda if we ever get down that far.
Oh, here, to scroll down. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I want to get off this heating thing for the so we're going to use two propane 20-pound cylinders, and that will more than ample. That will more than amply or ample. That will be big enough. We'll have margin. Okay. Next item is generator shelters, and Bill raised a very good point. If we have a lot of rain, it's nice to have a canopy over the generators. So he has one of these pop-up things that they use like at flea markets. Bill, are you on?
No,
it's not.
No. Okay.
I
And he
have
had,
two.
yeah, and he's agreed to bring that. We also have two as well. And I think that's a really good idea. It makes it a lot nicer when you're filling them. And if you're not, and if it does rain, worst case, really hard, the generators kind of protect it. They pop up enough that all the fumes come out and they don't get drenched.
Yeah.
Sound like a reasonable approach?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. Before we get to the ownership of the generators, we have the food details. So that's where Amanda and Mike come in. Do we have Amanda here?
No, she's working.
Ah, she's working.
Yeah, she's working.
Okay.
But,
give us
soon
a food
she'll be
update.
working somewhere else.
Oh, really? She's quitting?
Not quitting. She got an offer somewhere, so she's taking it.
Right.
So
Oh, well, we wish her the best of luck.
yeah, well, it means she'll be home at like 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. So
Good.
instead of 8 o'clock.
Bill, we see your fingers. They were really big. we saw this body way behind, and we saw this. Thank you. Now we can see you. Okay, give us a lowdown on the food.
All right. Well, she's going. She's making your list for costs and whatnot. We're pretty much going with what we decided on last Zoom meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be bringing it in stages. I won't be really operating, I don't think. I think it'll be just I'll be running back and forth to the site, for breakfast and dinner and whatnot. But yeah, we still have to go over the list, but we'll be getting that over to you and be doing that soon. Sorry about the procrastination. We just had a lot going on.
I understand. We got to remember at the end of the day, I think they call this a hobby, right?
Yeah. Well, the food thing is important to me.
Well,
That's
it is.
Very important. About the what are plans of making hot water? That's who put that in there?
Tim.
Tim.
TP.
Yeah.
I need my coffee and my tea.
Oh, glad you mentioned that, Tim. I'm going to bring to put in the hospitality suite a K-cup machine.
Good.
So, and that works great. I make tea with that too, Tim. I just put the tea bag in the cup and it comes through. You're laughing. So, what did you have other than an idea in mind?
I'm laughing because of Chuck. As soon as you said that, Chuck looked up and he raised his eyebrows because I don't think that was in Chuck's power calculation.
We were
So I'll turn it over to Chuck.
break
Now
it
that-
down.
As it is,
Yeah.
we're going to have to use two 12s to help get any possibility of balancing that load.
Sure.
Hey, I got a
So-
comment, Joe.
We can put the, if it's easier, this is
go
another
for it.
option. Let's talk about it. Stand by the person that broke in, QRX10OM. What time is it? 7:43. We got to keep moving. We can also, there's nothing that says the K-cup machine has to be in the hospitality suite. That would be a good spot for it. But if it makes sense from electrical distribution, I will put it, we can put it anywhere.
Put it in the LVR trailer.
We can put it in the LVR trailer. The
As
only
long as
thing
he has one heater.
Well, he has 2 heaters per George. He says he needs 2 heaters. So I say we put it in the Tom trailer.
Sounds good.
That goes in the Tom trailer. If we run out of current, I don't know how much the K-cup machines take. I really don't know.
Joe, I remember we were just using a normal extension cord, and it was a long distance. We brought it down the hill, and it was like 90 volts or something from the generator.
Right, because the gauge of that extension cord was 16 gauge wire.
So we need
So
like
it-
12.
Yeah.
You can check the power of my K-cup upstairs if you want.
Yeah.
Right back.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure they're all very similar. Okay.
Joe,
a quick
I have a
Google
comment.
search.
Hold up.
Well, hold it. Stand by. Travis, go ahead.
Quick Google search says 3 minutes at 1,500 watts.
Okay.
Hey.
So intermittent. So we can turn on and off the the warming trays while somebody's making coffee.
My K-cup machine says 1,470 watts.
Okay, so we're all in the same ballpark. So I think
Yeah.
that makes it very clear the K-cup machine should go in Tom's trailer.
I got a easy solution for you.
Yes.
Don't forget Dunkin' Donuts. I think there's one down on the road.
There's one down the hill.
Yeah, they have Joe Box coffee, and that's what Amanda and I were thinking about bringing. Everybody loves D&D coffee. Wawa's down the street as well. I'm sure we can get coffee. I don't mind running back and forth, but we were thinking about getting the boxes.
Okay.
No power needed.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
remember
Go
at
ahead.
at Summerfield Day. Yeah, I think Joe, you got some box coffee from
Yes.
Wawa, and I think that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked out well. Does everybody agree they prefer going with the box coffee rather than a K-cup machine?
That's
Yeah.
fine.
I don't really
That
care.
works.
Sounds
And what I
good.
can, and I'll also bring my jet boil. Love excuse to use it in case we need it for an emergency coffee. So
What is that? Just explain
it's a
that.
little, it's a high, it's a backpacking thing. You can make coffee and heat up the water. It's like a K cup on sterno that works really, really quick.
Good. You know, back in the old days when we used to camp when I was a kid, my dad had a Coleman stove that you put gas in and you pumped it
yeah.
up.
Well, that's what Tim is suggesting.
Tim's offering to bring his.
Yeah, you want to you want to look at the chats. So
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
he's
a
got a
jet
jet
boil.
boil. He knows what it is. Tim
he
knows
can
what a
bring a
jet
white
boil
gas
is. He's
camp
got his.
stove.
Yeah. And that would be good. And you can also, because I used to heat water on there so I could wash dishes after the family was done eating their meal.
Yep.
So that's also a good way to heat and get hot water.
I have a full stove with a big coffee pot. I'll throw it in the back of the truck.
Okay, excellent. So that's taken care of. Okay, we got to keep moving. Food details. Thank you very much, Mike. Thank Amanda.
Will do.
Appreciate everything. Get me the bill. I'll write you a check immediately,
Okay.
and that'll be taken care of. My financial contribution is I'm paying for the food and I'm paying for the hospitality suite.
1,500.
Yeah, that's thank you, Bob.
Pesos.
There were some other people that looked as well, and they're all right around the 1,500 value. And we're not going to use the K cup. We have other solutions. and I'm going to pay for the food and the $200 trailer. So that's my part. You guys figure out what you want to do, divide up the expenses. Somebody keep track of it, and bring your wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as far as the generators go, Greg has a generator, and all these generators have been looked at from a electromagnetic interference standpoint. So Greg has a generator. Bill OOK has a generator. Luke's dad, it's still okay to borrow that generator, Luke?
Yeah, I think if we have power here, he's not using it for anything, so.
Okay. So we would like to get that Saturday morning. So you're going to be in school Friday, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
I probably could come by, I don't know, 4 o'clock,
It's
I'm not
too
sure.
late. Yeah, it's too late.
All
We're
right.
going to be out there. So we'll get that Saturday morning. And by then your dad will know what the weather's like and he'll be able to make an assessment if he's going to lose power. Reasonable?
Yeah.
He can hold his finger up to the wind. Tom, you have a generator, and I have a generator if necessary. Chuck, if you need another 6,500 watts, I can certainly bring my generator.
I don't think we're going to need it other than as a backup. We
I
just
think
have
we-
to do the distribution right. So we're going to need
Yeah.
at least 12 gauge plus whatever anybody else has for 16s.
Okay.
Now we're going
So-
to have to use LVR breakout box, and I probably have to rig up another one.
And the 612s are how long?
No, we don't know exactly, I don't think.
Well, you mean you talk.
I would say 50 footers,
Okay.
standard 50 footers. I've got 2.
So, no, I mean, on this theme, is there a map laying out where these trailers are and where you're positioning the generators? Because I guess what I'm not following even still is.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
know you're very focused on but I know you're very focused on what you're just saying but I was looking at my trailer as almost self-contained. I'm going to bring my generator, my extension cords, I'm going to run them in for my power. Like, are you factoring my trailer in your power plan?
No.
Okay, good. Fine.
No, you're self-contained.
Yeah.
Chuck, incorrect on that?
Who's powering Greg?
His own. Oh, Greg. Greg is powering. Greg has the. Let's see here. Greg is the Honda inverter that's clean.
Yeah.
And I thought the original plan of record was to use that to power George's trailer, because George's trailer has the most operators in it and the most generator load. Or
They're
heater load.
all 5s or 5.5s other than Luke's.
Right. Luke's is bigger.
Yes.
So
Luke's is a 7.5.
right. So
Yeah.
Greg's was slated to power George's trailer. Luke's was slated to power, I thought, the hospitality suite.
Yes.
Okay. George's, I'm writing things down here. I'm just going by memory. Tom is powering Tom's.
Yeah, and Greg's powering Greg's.
And Bill's Honda non-inverter type is powering what?
We have 4 powered sites: LVR trailer, Greg, Tom, and hospitality. Yes.
Okay. I got Tom, hospitality, George, and Greg's. So I guess Bill's will power Greg's. And we can,
Yeah.
move things
I mean,
around as necessary.
they're all, except for the 7.5, they're all interchangeable.
Yes.
Right? They've all been tested
Yep.
for
Yep.
RFI, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I am going to bring mine. I'm going to bring my trailer, and we're going to bring mine because I think the plan of record right from the beginning is we need a spare generator.
You bet.
So I'm not going to take a chance because that's already bit us once. So I will have our 6,500 watt generator or 5,500 watt generator there. If we don't need it, we don't need it. But I'll have there, and I'll have ample gas that I'll buy for my generator. Okay. Hospitality suite. I'm going fast here. Propane versus electric. We've already picked propane. We need 2 propane tanks and I know we had a lot of volunteers for the propane tank. Propane tank 1, who can bring it? Who's going to provide propane tank one of those that volunteered?
Matt.
Matt? Okay, propane tank two, who's going to provide it?
I think
Well-
Tom was.
So,
I
yeah,
thought
so I was
Keith
gonna
said he
I was
had.
gonna bring 2 propane tanks to take care of the propane heater in my trailer.
Right.
And I can
So-
have an extra one handy.
Well, I think we had somebody else.
I
Well, I
think
can
Keith-
bring,
So Matt
Keith,
has.
Did you
Ma-
say you had propane tanks?
Pardon me?
HM.
Keith,
No,
do
I
you have a
said, no, I
propane
said
tank?
I would bring the gas stove and the power
Right.
boil, jet boil.
Okay. Travis, did you have a 20-pound cylinder?
I have to look. Part of me wants to say that I took that to some office that I no longer go to. So I
understand.
wouldn't be able to get to it.
Okay. So
Yeah, I have
Cur-
2, so I could bring them both. Matt has 2.
Okay, Matt. Okay, Matt had two. Why don't you bring two? And amortize. This is very important when who's ever going to keep track of the budget is I don't expect one person to pay all the propane bill and all this other kind of stuff. So however much you use, the field day fund should reimburse you by equally dividing that and amortize the cost between those that attend. So, power in the trailer, that's for the hospitality suite. I think we have a follow up with George, maybe Chuck and I, or just Chuck. It's probably some type of NEMA twist lock connector, but I don't know what exactly it is. So that's a question.
Well, last time he said it was a standard 120 volt 3-prong connector. However, I don't know if it's male or female.
And what current? 20 or 15?
I don't know.
That's we got to find that out.
Yeah, that's why one of many reasons I want to see this thing.
Yeah, and talk to George. George may already know. He sold these things.
I tried to call him, got his voicemail.
Yeah, that's fine. Then the other thing on the hospitality suite trailer, I guess electric watts and all that kind of stuff, et cetera. Is there any other thing about the hospitality suite anybody can think of? We've covered we're going to heat it with propane. An open action item is to see how the power is brought into that, what type of connectorization.
Do we know where the hospitality suite is going to be located? I think we were going to do it up towards the top of the hill on the end.
Great.
Yeah, I think is what we decided.
Great point. And I wanted to ask or answer Tom's question on that. Tom, are you still here?
I am.
Okay, there you are. Okay. When we were up there to do the site layout, as you go up on the upper level, you know where it is exactly.
Yep.
The first camping trailer there on the upper level, as you're looking down that long column on the left side near the cliff that goes down, that will be the hospitality suite. After that, we'll have a generator for the hospitality suite. And then we have you pictured the next trailer down from the hospitality suite.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know how much room is left on that long stretch there. If Greg's trailer will fit in there, and his trailer is not real long, he could possibly park parallel, or he could just back it in. I think he could easily back it in there. So it would be hospitality, Tom's, Greg's, George's. I'm in the tent over where Corbin was 2 years ago on the upper level. That's where I'm going to be. And I think, Luke, you're going to be staying over. You're bringing your tent too, right?
Yeah, because it's not supposed to be 0 degrees. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you're not going to operate from your tent, so you just are going to be sleeping in it.
Yeah.
Okay. So and Luke can put his tent where he wants. I suggested there's a clear spot to the right of my tent. If he wants to park it there, he can park it anywhere he wants. The only thing I said is I don't want him to be up in the woods where we can't keep an eye on him. I want them to be in our location, you know, where we're all located. So anyway, that's the plan. That's the rough sketch, Tom, on the layout. Is that clear?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, you're quite welcome. Okay, the other thing is something that popped into my mind. The last item on the agenda is outside lighting. Do we want any lights around? I mean, it gets pretty dark at night.
I was thinking we could what do they call the like camp lanterns or something.
I have those Home Depot LED stuff that can go on stands.
Yeah, those my Boy Scout troop uses those on camping meetings. You just put them on a hole that goes in the grounds and they stand up.
Well, our hole in the ground is in asphalt. The other thing
Uh,
you can consider is if you're going to have canopies over the generators, you can hang it from up in the canopy so it doesn't get wet. And it
Good
would
idea.
also help distribute some light.
And you have AC right there.
And you got AC right under it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, as long as the generators are dispersed enough that it lights up the general area.
And it's only 25. Like I have one here right now, and it's only 25 watts.
Yeah.
But it's bright.
Okay, very good. So that sounds like a reasonable plan on that.
I also have boxes of search and rescue LED lights, 2 a pack. I've got 5 of these, so there's like 10 total lights. They won't last the whole night, but we can, you know, pop them up and swap them out, and they just require a USB cable to charge them up. And I have
that's cool.
8 of those, 2 of these. I mean, don't buy any lights. I've got plenty of LEDs that we can move around.
Okay, very good. It was just one of those things that I thought about the lighting because it can kind of get dark.
Well, that one light I think will make, especially if you aim it into a canopy that it's translucent, and except for the time when you're refueling that generator, so one of those handheld ones may be useful to have to substitute that while that generator is being refueled.
Sounds good. Hey, guess what's starting?
We have a net control. Good.
Yep, Harvey's on.
Good.
I haven't heard Harvey forever.
I know.
Yeah, I haven't heard it in a while.
Now, Joe, we can still do if you absolutely needed it. We can still do another Zoom this week.
Yeah. Okay. The only final thing. Let me turn some of these radios down. Stand by.
I like 4 to turn down.
Regarding the repeater, its owner, repeater.
I can handle it, but when I have the latency delay on All-Star, it kind of drives you nuts. I plan to be up at the site for some preliminary stuff, either Thursday or Friday, based on the weather. If Friday's the better day, I'll be there Friday. If Thursday's the better day, I'll be there on Thursday. So I'll communicate to the entire group to see if anybody's available or anybody feels a need to come up on one of those days. Other than that, just to recap, I plan to be at the site, and Martha plans to be at the site at 9 a.m. Saturday morning. And we're putting a lot of emphasis on Saturday morning because it looks pretty good at this point that the weather is going to be decent. So
rain Thursday, AM showers Friday, PM showers Saturday.
See, so Friday morning looks pretty good.
Yep.
So
AM showers Friday.
Oh, what's
rain Thursday, AM showers Friday, and PM showers Saturday.
When's it going to rain on Saturday or on Thursday?
Well, they don't have the hourly, but right at the moment they're showing rain on Thursday.
Okay,
it just says rain.
And Friday afternoon is better than morning.
Apparently.
Okay.
It's too soon for the hourly, but they're showing AM showers.
And a lot could change between now and then. Stay tuned. I'll send an email out to the entire Winter Field Day crew when I know more. But regardless of all that stuff, at 9 a.m. on Saturday, we'll be there. Okay. Thank you all. Get off to the workbench and have a good time.
Thank you all. See ya.
Great.
All right. Bye.
Cheers.
See ya.
See ya.